Hi, I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web fishing report. I'm going to start things off this week by letting you know that the new episode of the Fisherman TV, which is sponsored by Missouri Lures, is now live at thefisherman.com. In this month's episode, join our very own Fred Golafaro, Brandon Cotter of Okuma Fishing Tackle, and Captain John Paduano of Premium Fishing Charters as they hunt for giant striped bass feeding on schools of adult bunker off the Long Island coast. Remember that this episode is available for subscribers only for the first month before we open it up to the general public after that. This is yet again one another of the great benefits to having a subscription to the Fisherman magazine, so go give the episode a look. I'm sure you're going to love it, and you're going to be fiending to get out there and catch some big striped bass yourself. Moving into the report, I'm going to start things off down in Connecticut, where the reefs of central and eastern Connecticut really came alive with striped bass this week. There's reports of great numbers as well as some really big fish being caught all across the state. One of the largest bass of the week was weighed in at Fisherman's Paradise in Branford and was caught by Paul Santa Barbara. The fish weighed 51.5 pounds and was caught while he was fishing with his good friend Captain John Frione. That's the third 50 of the year that John's got on his boat, so congratulations to both the captain and the crew. Let's see. Captain Bruce in the Otter reports another great week of fishing off the Connecticut coast. He reported last week that he noticed some much better fish being caught, and he continued this week where he bagged a pair of 50 and 51-inch fish for his clients on Friday on the brand new Admiral Series Otter Spoons. Not to mention a bunch of other 30 and 40-inch fish class fish that were taken throughout the week, so some really good action going on there. There's also some big fluke caught across the state, and Hillier's reported weighing in flatties up to and in excess of 12 pounds this past week. So I've been reporting as we've gone along since the fluke season began that Niantic area has really been the center of the big fluke in the Connecticut waters, and it continues this week as well. Over in Rhode Island, they also saw some increased action in all manner of species, including striped bass, bluefish, bottomfish. It was a really good week in Rhode Island. The Watch Hill Outfitters reports an all-out blitz took place over the weekend for a couple of days out at Watch Hill Lighthouse. Now both surfcasters as well as boaters got in on this action, and there was striped bass in excess of 30 pounds taken. Buddy of mine took a 17-pound bluefish, and I even talked to a guy that took a nice weak fish on Friday night out there on a tactical angler darter, so congratulations on that catch. Not often you hear of weak fish taken in Rhode Island waters lately. Continuing the big fluke from the Connecticut report, Snug Harbor Marina weighed in a pair of fluke in excess of 11 pounds as well as a 10.7 pounder over the weekend. They're reportedly all taken just south of Block Island, so that seems to be the central area for the bigger fluke over in Rhode Island waters. But the 7Bs and the Francis fleet also report some pretty good fluke being taken inshore just off the South County beaches. They got a lot of 5, 6, and 7 pound fish with a couple even in excess of 10 pounds. The real note of the week was some really big scup and sea bass being caught in with the fluke as well, so that's a nice mixed bag of fish being taken there. Up in Rhode Island, Falmouth Bait and Tackle reports some large fluke being taken in the deeper waters of Nantucket and Vineyard Sounds. And that really seems to be the key of the Massachusetts waters right now, is to target those deeper waters for the bigger fish. Belson Bait and Tackle up in Scituate said mackerel that have been hanging in the area are really starting to hold some good body of striped bass. Live lining has been the key to getting those bigger fish, and they had a few over 40 pounds brought into the shop. Fishing Fanatics as well reports some similar results on live mackerel in the Boston Harbor area, as they also had a couple of 40-pounders being brought into the shop last week to be weighed. Again, taking a live mackerel trolled in around the harbor. So that's big news up there, is that all the mackerel, also getting word of some herring and some pogies in the area, but really it's the mackerel that are fueling the big bass bite on the North Shore. So there you have it. That's this week's web fishing report. I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine, wishing you tight lines on the water.